Excuse me. What in the world are you thinking?
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
What was that line Jim Carrey said in Liar Liar when he's like, I've had better. I can't lie. That's how this show was. What up, y'all? KMB the Sexy Ninja in the place to be for C Plus Studios and the Paper Saber universe. I am talking about NXT here on the New World Podcast, brother. April 11th, 2023. Booker T and Vic Joseph on commentary. They're in Orlando, Florida, and I gotta say, man, that crowd was ass. Like, I didn't know who was rooting for who was doing what when they did the Chase U thing. That crowd is like a hit or miss, especially with television tapings and stuff like that. This isn't like that old NXT feeling. I understand. I've bitched about it before. I get it. You know, at this point, it's just like it is what it is. You know, these guys got to break through this crowd. They got to do this. Yes, you got them chanting NXT, but you got a whole chunk of them in the corner that I know that's a developmental talent right there with those Chase U logos on them. I mean, shirts on them, whatever. Let's just get right into it. Carmelo Hayes comes out after getting attacked by Braun Breaker, and he comes out and he's like, hey, you know, I don't know what happened. This was not a sign of you passing the torch. This was a sign of me just taking it and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, Carmelo's with Trick Williams. Dragon Lee comes out. JD McDonough. Grayson Waller comes out. And, you know, I got to say this. With Trick Williams, I like Trick Williams, but Carmelo has his own voice. You know, Trick is just like somebody who's a hype man. You know, he's like the Flavor Flav of this group. Like, I think Carmelo doesn't need somebody with him like on that level because, you know, yeah, Trick does do some great introductions, but I just see Carmelo Hayes being by himself. You know, Trick could use his other talents elsewhere with some other talent that probably needs some, you know, mic, someone to spit on the mic for them. So, but Dragon Lee comes out, JD McDonough, Grayson Waller come out because there's a big fatal four-way. They don't know who the fourth person is going to be. Carmelo says he gave that fourth spot to Braun because he says, I am a champion. I'm a man that's going to put this championship on the line. So on and so forth, but that doesn't happen tonight. That doesn't happen whatsoever. My favorite part about this is like I think it was JD McDonough that said he said no it was Grayson Waller, El Stupido. He called Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee did this great finger point back like hey don't say that shit. So it all ends. You know, and Carmelo says, yeah, there's a bunch of them here, but it's all about him. Puts it the title. Bada bing, bada boom. Moved on to our first match of the night, NXT Tag Team Women's Championship. Dawn and Fire versus Kiana James and Fallon Henley. And, you know, they're backstage. They're like, where's so-and-so? This whole fucking thing, I just don't care. Like, I care more about Dawn and Fire in this tag team championship. The match was fine itself. This whole Kiana James and Fallon Henley with his bag thing and the boyfriends and all this and that, tying into the match and them losing to Dawn and Fire, and I just don't care. It's one of those things where I'm just like, okay, this is a good match, but you know, I have only been watching this for like 3 or 4 weeks now since Stand and Deliver. Still trying to understand. I've been doing my digging, and some of these storylines are just like, man, how did y'all sit through a lot of this stuff, man? Like, you know, I know there's some hardcore people like, yo, I love my NXT and whatnot, but there's just some shit here that I was texting Big Daddy because Big Daddy loves NXT, and I would love to just do an NXT podcast with him about what he loves, and me and him going and doing a back and forth on this on the New World Podcast because I'm just like, you know, and they got a show coming up here. I believe it's April 25th, Spring Breakin', you know, but now up next, you know, you see we have a package for Supernova Noam Dar for his trophy or whatever. He's a really great talent that I can't wait to see in the ring. Dragon Lee's warming up. They have this Chase University thing, you know, but Braun interrupts But, you know, I text Big Daddy when they're doing this whole Chase U thing. And, you know, it was one of those things where I'm just like, this Chase U shit is painfully dumb. Like, I just don't understand it. I'm just not getting it. This Duke Hudson guy is a big dude. This whole Chase U thing's so fucking silly and weird. I just don't care. But for some reason, Braun comes out. He's all in black to show you that he's evil. I mean, he's the evil Braun Breaker now. He looks like an overtanned Hollywood Hogan brother, you know, all dressed in black, calling the crowd stupid. He offers his spot to Duke Hudson, saying like, "Oh, that championship is cursed, and I gotta show these people that I'm a whole different level of Braun Breaker and waffle brother." You know, I was just like, okay. Then he attacks Chase U, and that's it. He ruined the ceremony. But Duke Hudson's the MVP. I don't care. We had a great package for Gigi, talking about Jessie Jane. You know, how she ruined that moment for her at Stand and Deliver. I can't wait to see what Gigi does. They have this weird thing called NXT Anonymous. I didn't know it was a thing until tonight. You know, I follow a lot of things on Twitter, but I know NXT had its own Anonymous, like we see everything, but their family attacks pretty deadly. But there was a really good exchange later on with Pretty Deadly. I did enjoy that. Eddie Thorpe versus Javier Bernal. Eddie for the win. This was an okay match as well. You know, nothing crazy, nothing stands out a bit. But this Damon kid comes out, watching Eddie, and they're trying to build that up, whatever feud there. The Gallus boys are backstage, and then they're talking to what's his name, Tank Ledger. He's gonna make his debut tonight, and he's gonna take on Joe Coffey. You know, it is cool. I found it more interesting. I didn't give really two shits about that. I gave more shits about Schism interrupting, because the Gallus is the tag team champions, and this Schism I've been digging into, and I'm liking these guys. So more on that, you know, and the way they ended ended the Joe Coffey Tank Ledger match was pretty interesting, because I was like, all right, so they have Tiffany Stratton versus Sol Rucka. Tiffany for the win. Nothing really, you know, it was okay. It was like this whole night was like that. It's like I said, it was that line from the Liar Liar. I've had better. That's the whole time I'm thinking. You know, Diamond Mine's backstage. Tiffany's backstage. You know, she's like, hey, blah, 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 blah. I was kind of tuning in and out. I'm not gonna lie, folks. I know I'm being a fucking downer right now, but this show just was not clicking on any cylinders for me to make me like, yeah, you know, it feels like last week's Ring of Honor. You know, it was like a bunch of matches. Like everything I'm tuning in for is not on the channel. Like I was like, okay, there's Carmelo Hayes. Yeah, where's Braun? Braun doesn't come out. He comes out and gives his fucking opportunity to Duke Hudson for some reason, and he's all dressed in black. And I was like, okay, well, where's Indy Hartwell? I understand that this is the developmental stage and whatnot, but still, it was just like frustratingly like, come on, do something, fucking do something to get me to be like, ah. But there's little moments like Gallus and Schism, you know, and all this and that. I there's things like that, but nothing really just like, shit. This made me pop more than anything. Seeing Wesley in an interview, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, you know. Hell yeah, I want to see some Wesley, but we're not going to get Wesley until next week, until when he faces Charlie Dempsey, sorry, and Goulash was there. I was like, hey, my boy, Gulak. Von Wagner with Mr. Stone versus Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov is somebody that I've been scouting. Well, shit, it makes it sound like I'm signing him or nothing. I've just been like watching, and this dude is a beast. Ilya is a beast. I'm glad that Ilya got the win, but the stipulation, not even a stipulation, was just that Mr. Stone, whoever the fuck Mr. Stone is just like, Vaughn, if you lose, we're done. Okay, fine, we're done. I want to see more Dragunov. Like, give me more. And this was the one thing I'd say that got my fancies all tickled. Dijak comes out, and, you know, he's like, I'm gonna make you immortal. This and that. I was like, yes, I want to see these two, Dijak and Ilya, tear it up. I was like, bring it on. So after that, we had Joe Coffey with Gallus versus Tank Ledger, big debut match. Joe Coffey for the win, but the Creed brothers comes out, Schism comes out, it's chaos. It's like let them fight, you know. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm interested there. I want to see these tag teams go at each other and rip each other apart. So I do enjoy these tag teams, Gallus, Creed brothers, and Schism. Just see where we go there. Joe and Tank, it was a pretty good match, nothing too crazy, but a good debut for Tank Ledger. The family gets attacked backstage by Pretty Deadly because they got attacked from that NXT Anonymous thing, and you know, this is the part that made me like, well, before the family got attacked, D'Angelo and Stax, Zoe Starks is there, Roxanne Perez, I'm gonna get my championship. Zoe Starks is like, Miss Radio Silence, blah 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 blah. It was just one of those things where, like it was funny because like right when they got attacked, Pretty Deadly pulls out these razor blades and they start cutting up their clothes, and I'm just like, damn, not only destroying these guys but tearing up their clothes, tearing up their fashion. Oh man, that made me laugh. I was like, okay, that's cool. That's funny. I do like Pretty Deadly. So, I totally skipped over this. Cora Jade did a promo, and Lyra Valkyria came out, and I don't know. Cora Jade, like, she's great in the ring, but man, I'm telling you, just like the Chase U segment, I'm just like scratching, like, come on, get to the point. Get to the point. Yes, you run NXT. This is your NXT. Come on, say something. Even the crowd, and the crowd is not even fucking like off the chain until the main event. This crowd is like boring, and I could not disagree less. I'm just like, okay, come on. Even like Lyra Valkyria comes out and she's doing her thing, and I'm just like, I don't care. Like, Cora Jade's cool, you're back, you know, but I'm trying to see, out of all these women, who is really gonna build a really great story with Indy Hartwell. You know, we don't have a Mandy Rose no more because WWE's like, oh, you're too dirty for us now, so blah blah blah. But you know, it's just one of those things. Like, I'm trying to see on this women's roster who is next to face Indy Hartwell, and I think Cora Jade's going to be put in that slot. They also been teasing with Tiffany Stratton. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. You know, like, out of everybody, I'm just like, yeah, you know, I guess they'll have a good match. Indy Hartwell will put up that title against all these women, but we shall see where the story goes on that front. Yeah, so like I said, the Cora Jade thing was just, Fatal 4-way match. This was a crazy match. Like I knew it was going to be JD McDonough versus Dragon Lee versus Grayson Waller versus Duke Hudson. I was waiting for Braun to come out at some point, maybe like to reclaim his spot, let Duke do all the work, and then he comes in. But I was just like, that's it for Braun? He's just dark evil Braun now? You know, like, is that what we're going with? That's it? Okay, sure. So Grayson Waller for the win. I'm just like, how many times has this dude had the opportunity to go after that NXT championship? And more than likely, they're not going to have Carmelo drop that title anytime soon. In 2 weeks on Spring Breakin', on April 25th, Carmelo's gonna put up that championship against Grayson Waller. I don't see Grayson Waller taking that championship, and that's what it makes it kind of unappealing in that way. Am I excited to see the match? Yes. Do I care about the story going in? Probably not. Am I gonna be entertained? Yes. But at the same time, I know Grayson Waller's not gonna win that championship. It's just such a weird thing, and I've noticed this with NXT. And don't mind me, AEW does it as well. You know, there's little weird things in between. You know, Battle of the Belts and this and that, and there's this, and NXT does Spring Breakin', and they do Great American Bash, and they do all these things before they get to a pay-per-view. And I get it. You know, you have to build interest in the product. And Grayson Waller versus Carmelo Hayes sounds great on paper, but I already know going in, Grayson Waller's not going to take that championship against Carmelo Hayes. Will it be a damn good match? Hell yeah, it'll be a damn good match because these two are great talents. You know, so I like the end of the show where it had Carmelo come out, him comes out, and they stand face to face. They're gonna face each other at Spring Breakin'. That name's terrible. Spring Breakin'. I thought they called it Spring Breaker after Braun Breaker. So I don't know. I give this show an honestly, this is probably as most like hardcore I've been about, like being very down about something, especially with pro wrestling itself. But there's some things I came to the show for that I did not see, you know, that there's still more to come. There's still more show right down where we're going with these stories leading up to the Spring Breakin' thing, you know, but I give the show a solid 2 out of 5. Honestly, man, I was just waiting for something in this show, you know, that we had some fun matches, but nothing was like, you know, nothing grabbed me the way, you know, like Raw grabbed me last night. Ew, that sounds dirty. It got all raw and, you know, so yeah, shit, I'd rather take an hour Rampage like I did last week, which was a hell of a show, than this, you know, with the Battle of the Belts and all. But yeah, nothing too crazy. I give this show a solid 2 out of 5. Nothing really out there that just stood the test, that's going to stand the test of time. And I don't understand this whole Braun thing. I don't understand him giving up his spot, like, you know, saying, oh, that championship's cursed, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. So 2 out of 5. Tell me what you thought of the show. Am I being too harsh? You know, am I being too harsh on this show in particular, just because there's nobody really I'm looking like, you know, like Carmelo. Yeah, I can see Carmelo on the main roster. I can see a Wesley on the main roster. Shit, I can see Ilya Dragunov on the main roster. I don't want to see no Von Wagner on the fucking main roster. You know, this is what this is. And Braun, just bring him up already. Just fucking bring him up. You know, he's lost the championship. Let's move on. And weirdly enough, he gave his spot away to this Duke dude. Like, just fucking move him up to the main roster already. Like, you know, and make him the, I don't know, who could he have a feud with? I don't know. I don't know. And, you know, I really hope, though, Drew McIntyre resigns. If not, there's rumors about the Wembley Stadium. We'll talk more about that later. Him showing up in NXT when they go to the UK and stuff like that. So Drew McIntyre's contract is almost up. We shall see. I don't know if he's re-signed it, since I'm doing this podcast right now. Like, it was just part of the news I saw this morning when I was going through my Twitter. So that's it. That's all. 2 out of 5. NXT, April 11th, 2023. Yeah. That's it. That's all. Tell me what you thought of the show. Drop those comments below. Go get your merch from our T Public store. Get yourself that sweet NXT and nWp logo that was designed by Penta X. Go check out his music. Go get yourself the mascot, the True Sexy Ninja, that was created by Katie. Thank you. Go check out those other designs by me and Big Daddy that are on our T Public store. Anything and everything helps. Share, like. Drop those comments, drop those reviews, and share with your grandma, share with your grandpa, share with the bum down at Walmart. I am KMB, the Sexy Ninja, and as always, the New World Podcast is for life, brother.
I also realized that I don't need the approval of these scumbags anymore!